Hi, I am Sarah. I read as Sora the Intuitive for Sky Messages by Sora. I am a tarot reader who specializes in past life readings. I also teach and mentor the tarot. I have two journals, one for learning the tarot and one for more learning yourself and deepening the connection with your deck. That one's a collaboration with Killer Pancake, who makes a couple of the decks I'll be reviewing. The reason I started this channel, and specifically this series, the tarot review series, is that I really want people to be able to have a connection. I want anyone who wants to do the tarot to be able to learn it. And a lot of times people get really frustrated because the first deck that they start using, they don't really connect with. And so I'm hoping that instead of getting frustrated or spending a lot of money on decks that they then realize they don't want, people can sort of start to learn what their style is, what theme they're looking for, what kind of imagery works for them, and help people find the right decks for them. I do believe that if there is a tarot deck out there, there is an audience for it. And if there is somebody who wants to learn, then there's definitely a deck for them. So this won't have star ratings. This won't be about what's good and bad. It'll be about the details, such as the guidebook, a level that it's good for, like basic to advanced. It will be, how close it is to the Rider-Waite or the Tarot de Marseille, or the Thoth for those who prefer that. And it will just give people a look and hopefully help them start to begin their journey. Or for those of us who have been on their journey for a while, but are thinking about new decks and testing out different things, give them a preview. So there are some of the decks behind me, but if there are any you're interested in, let me know. And let's get started. Welcome back. We are going to be looking at the Archangel Power Tarot cards today for our deck review. And this is the first deck review that is being done on my brand new desk that was built for me by my dad. There's a full tour, well, a mini tour, I guess, on social media if you want to see the whole thing. But it's really beautiful, and I'm really excited to be able to use it for recording. Before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing. Anyone that you know who's looking for a deck, hopefully this series can help them. If you are a collector, hopefully the series is helping you. And so to get started, this is a Hay House deck. So it has the really nice boxes that they tend to come with, and a really good guidebook. Hay House does great guidebooks. You've got pictures for every card. You've got a little bit about how to use it and what makes this deck different to them. And they use the Celtic Cross in there for their spread that they use to help you get used to it. And that's a very traditional one. That's one that is used across so many tarot traditions. It's a great one to get to know. Looking at the cards, I love this back. It's really beautiful. Now, if you are somebody who likes to read in reverse but doesn't like to know ahead of time, then that might not be something that's as big for you, but I actually really like them. They're a little bit harder to shuffle. They are a little bit wider than most of the decks I use. Pretty common size for Hay House. They're that thick stock that they like. So they're really beautiful. They, take some breaking in to be shuffled, but they're really nice. So looking at the fronts of the deck, they're really beautiful. They are very specifically color-coded, which is really nice for beginner readers, but also nice because they do change the minor suits. They work very well. The purple here is the major arcana. They work very well, but if you're still getting used to how the suits work, it can be another obstacle. So it's really nice that you can remember the different pieces. So the pentacles are represented by Ariel, and that's where you have that earth energy. So you see a lot of flowers there. She's in the pink. The blue is Michael. Michael is the sword suit. That is air, thought, and so you have the blue there. We have Raphael for the cups. He's green. I would say color coding wise, I probably would have switched, or I would have normally used green for like earth, but that is his color in the rainbow. When they look at the lights. And we have Gabriel for fire. These are great for beginners because they've got these little light descriptions. Also makes them great if you're more of a used to other forms of divination and are still learning the tarot, but you want to do the card form. Like if you're an oracle deck reader, that's a nice start, but it's a nice way to learn the tarot. And it's a very inclusive deck. It has a lot of really beautiful aspects to it. I find that it gives really nice readings, but it doesn't hold back either. See, there's Gabriel, the fire. It is a very positive, optimistic deck. It leans into the more positive aspects of the different cards. Kind of looking on the bright side, which kind of makes it surprising that it actually does not hold back when we are reading with it, but it is really cool to see that. So it's really nice for people who love the tarot, but can get discouraged sometimes by the readings that can be harder to hear. It's not that it gives you the wrong message or lighter messages. It's just that its delivery helps you to focus kind of on the bright side of the cards, which is really nice. So as for who this deck is great for, it is very good for beginners. I really enjoy having it in my collection because I'm a huge fan of the Archangels. I love working with them. And so that's really nice. The illustrations are gorgeous. People who really like working with the Archangels as well, people who are learning about the Archangels, or who just really love this gorgeous artwork. People of other Hay House decks too, because there is a continuity here that I think helps. So I think this is good. It can be good for any level of reading, but I just think it's a really amazing deck if you're a beginner. But all levels really would do well with it. And as I continue to do these, I would love to know more about what you all would like to see in a deck review. I have my things I like to look at. I like to know how it feels to shuffle. I like to know how close it is to the tarot. This one is really, really close. Often I'll look at specific cards to show how I feel about them. I didn't do that much with that in this deck because they're fairly consistent with their angel imagery, which is really beautiful. But they're more descriptive in the card itself. So I feel like that kind of takes hold of where the meanings come out of it. So I am just shuffling now, and we'll do a little reading for the week. I realize this is a shorter review, but I think it's just such a straightforward deck, and it has, with the meanings on the cards and the basic meanings on the cards, it's going to be one that you need to really work with yourself to see how well it works for you. But I do love it. And if you want to see other readings with it, I have done some over on my TikTok. Next week we'll do the pick-a-piles. But you'll see it here and there. I find it to be a very inspirational deck. And we are starting with the Eight of Ariel, or the Eight of Pentacles. This is a card of internship, apprenticeship, like really getting to where you are. So I love that it talks about taking pride in your work and practice making perfect, because it is really where that place where you feel like you know what you're doing. You've really got it down, but you're actually still learning. And I always talk about it as being the card where you still feel like someone's hanging out over your shoulder. So I love that she's there pointing it out. But the reason Ariel's there in that picture is that divine guidance. She's like, you've got this, but you can't get it right a couple times and consider yourself an expert. So looking at that here, it says to me not to be frustrated because you're not where you want to be right now. More focus on what it is that you know and keep doing it. And then you'll see as it starts to come. And then we have with that perspective, or the Hanged Man. I love this because it keeps the imagery we're used to, but brings in the meaning that my tradition uses. So there's that shift in perspective. People get alarmed sometimes when we see the Hanged Man, but it's really just that letting a subtle shift in perspective change your attitude, change everything that goes on around. They talk about things like that with law of attraction, but it's also psychologically true. If you can look for opportunities, you're more likely to see them, whereas if you are expecting things to go wrong, they more likely are going to. So I love these together because, we're talking about feeling stuck with the 8, or feeling like, why am I not there yet when I've been putting in all this work? And Chamuel comes in to say, just take another minute, look a little harder, and let it help you see that what we're doing, what we are working towards, that we'll get there, that we're in that moment, instead of wondering why we're not there yet, looking at how far we've come. And we have that with the 9 of Raphael, or the 9 of Cups, which is a card of comfort, and having things that you've been working towards come true. So these together show that slight shift kind of being what you need to have all the pieces come together. But also, it's a really nice way of saying, just hold on a little longer, have some patience. So ultimately, going forward, things should be good as long as you can look at how far you've come and what it is you're doing and learning, more than where you feel like you should be. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know what other decks you would like to see reviewed. Stay tuned next week for the pick a pile with this deck, and have a wonderful week. Thank you.